Hello and welcome back to my channel. Having understood exploratory research in earlier videos, now let's understand the next research design that is extensively used in research called the conclusive research. Now, conclusive research, from the very word conclusive, it means it helps you to conclude something. And conclusive research can broadly be divided into two different parts, descriptive and causal. Whenever we conduct interviews by using structured questionnaires, collect the data, interpret the data, and come up with conclusions, it will be called as descriptive research. The word descriptive describes, right? So you are describing the research variables by conducting an interview with a structured questionnaire. The second part is called causal, which basically deals with cause and effect relationship. So let's understand descriptive research. Basically, it focuses to answer the questions of who, what, when, where, and how of the management question. For example, if the government of India wants to launch a scheme to benefit a specific section of the society, then before launching the scheme, the government would like to know who are the people who are going to benefit from this scheme, what will be their expectations from this scheme, when will they like to get associated with this scheme or benefit from the scheme, where will they like to get this scheme from, whether from the district collectors of collectorate's office or post office, etc., etc., and how would they like to get associated with this scheme. A commercial example, a company wants to launch a new product, and before launching it, they want to find out the potential of this product. So they conduct a potential study, market potential study. So, what is this study going to answer? Who will be our likely customers? What will be the expectations of these customers? When will these customers be ready to buy our product? From where? Which place would they like to buy it? Offline, online, e-commerce, etc., etc. And how would they like to buy it? Cash, um, credit cards, EMI, etc., etc. So all these questions are basically trying to describe the research. So who, what, when, where, and how. Of course, they are very formal and well structured studies, and hence, right in the beginning, in the planning stage, you have to define the descriptive research. Descriptive research, in turn, can be classified into two parts, cross sectional studies and longitudinal studies. I spoke about the government scheme and the research to be done before launching it. It will be a cross sectional study because you are not going to interview the same people again and again or same samples again and again, only once for the study. Similarly, a market potential will be done only once with a cross section of respondent samples and not again and again. But suppose this product or the government scheme has been launched and the government or the company wants to know how satisfied are people with this scheme or with the product. They will be doing annual or quarterly or half yearly studies called customer satisfaction or people satisfaction studies. There, the same samples will be studied again and again. They will be called as longitudinal studies. So, having understood descriptive, now let's talk about causal research, a theory which was put forth by John Stuart Mill by putting some principles for causal research. So, he says when two or more cases of a given phenomenon have one and only one condition in common, then that condition will be regarded as the cause of the phenomenon. What he means is can be understood pictorially in a very simple way. So, there are events A, B, C in a condition and it leads to Z, and in another condition, there are three events C, D, and E. Now we can observe that it is C which is common in both these conditions. And therefore, John Stuart Mill concludes that it is C which is leading to Z. That means C is the cause of the Z. This theory put forth was really helpful in ruling out irrelevant factors. But the problem is, other factors called extraneous variables have not been considered and they still may be influencing the phenomenon. So, in order to overcome this limitation, John Stuart Mill proposed a logic that if a chance in the amount of one variable is accompanied by a comparable change in the amount of another variable in two or more cases, and the latter change does not occur, please note, latter change does not occur in the absence of the first change, then the first change or one change is the cause of the other. Now, this concept is called as a negative canon and may be slightly confusing as far as the words are concerned. So, let's see it with the help of a picture. So, A, B, and C lead to a Z, A, B, and a non-C. So, there's no C, no Z occurs. So, now we are substantially sure that Z is occurring because of C or C is the cause of Z. I think this is now very simple to understand. There are also certain criteria for causal research. So, whenever there is a necessary but not sufficient condition, we do not say that it causes the event. For example, there are many tragic road accident deaths in India. So, should we say accidents are the cause of death? The answer is no. If immediate medical health would have been available to these accident prone people or accident occurring people, then they could have been saved, their lives could have been saved. So, occurrence of accident is a sufficient condition, but not a necessary condition. Not having medical help or not providing medical health leading to death will be considered as a necessary condition. Similarly, smoking enhances the chance of cancer, getting a lung cancer or a mouth cancer. But it enhances. But we have found that many people who don't smoke also can or have got lung cancer or mouth or throat cancer. So, why does this happen? It's because of the genetic disorder that happens in the body, where the dead cells start multiplying. So, definitely smoking enhances the chance of a cancer, but it's not a necessary condition, it's a sufficient condition. The problem with your DNA or genes is called as the necessary condition. So, necessary conditions are relevant through their absence, and two factors may be individually insufficient but jointly sufficient. And that factor of sufficiency raises the probability of the event but does not necessarily create the problem. Okay, so let's further understand a few concepts. What are moderating variables? What are intervening variables? Before going to moderating and intervening variables, let's also understand what is an experiment. We always use this term experiment, but experiment means a purposeful manipulation by a researcher of the independent variables to understand their impact on the dependent variable. Here, the word manipulation means a change and not the negative connotation that is associated with manipulation. So, you purposefully change a variable to understand its impact on the other variable. And of course, you control the extraneous variables. So, what are extraneous variables? These are independent variables which are not the objective of our study, but which directly or indirectly impact the outcome of the study. They are called as extraneous variables. We are going to deal in a separate video on these different variables, because in one video it may not be able to capture all these concepts. The objective is just to introduce you to these basic concepts. So, moderating variables, they have a strong contingent effect on the relationship between independent and dependent variables, and they can modify the direction as well as the magnitude of the independent dependent association. We have studied in science in school that there's a catalyst, and the catalyst enhances the cycle or the chemical reaction. So a catalyst, and it does not participate in the reaction, but it definitely gives a direction, and therefore a catalyst can be an example of a moderating variable. What is an intervening variable? It's a temporary variable which is created in between the independent and the dependent variable. It comes and goes and does not remain forever. For example, an HR department in a company decides to give a new HR policy to have more loyalty of employees. So, what happens when you give these schemes? Employees' satisfaction towards the job or the company increases. That's an intervening variable. Okay. And this leads to loyalty. So loyalty does not occur directly. First, the satisfaction, and then satisfaction will be over one day or the other, but it will lead to the loyalty. So that's called an intervening variable. So in the next video, we'll further delve upon these variables. I think that's it for today's video. Please share this video to as many people as possible. Please subscribe to my channel and also do not forget to press the like button. Thank you. See you in my next video. Thank you.